Through the sixth week of session now, Senator, and that means a lot of time is spent in Senate Committee Room 2 for the Senate Appropriations Committee. A lot of different folks out there to hear from for the next probably several weeks to come as well.
There is. In the last 2 weeks, we've heard from department heads, and it'll start again Monday or Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, and we'll start down the list again. The governor's done a great job crafting the budget. It came from him. But when you look at it, you're seeing, as I look at the facts and figures, about a third of the money in our $28 billion budget comes from the federal government, and about a third of it from our local taxes, and then about a third of it from fees and gas tax. We do require a lot on the federal government in doing so and funding a lot of different things, and their percentages, a lot of it's matches, a lot of it is the federal government has a bigger percentage, some of it is smaller. To always be careful of starting programs. I haven't seen it under this administration, but previous administrations, the older programs were kind of a bait and switch, where they bait you and say, well, we're going to pay so much of it, and then towards the end of 3 or 5 years, then they phase out of it, and then the state's dumped with that on there. It's interesting to sit in there and list it. Sometimes it gets rather old. After sitting in there 6 or 8 hours, something list all the budget items, and I like serving on it, and it keeps me really in touch, and it also gives me a possibility to help out the district any way I can. So that's my main reason for sitting in there, but it's all part of the job.
How far along in terms of, you mentioned a lot of department heads. I mean, we know the deadline, but how far along in terms of the committee itself? What's left between now and when something would go to, in this case, the House floor?
Well, we start with just the House working on it, the Senate's working on it, everything like that. But we start with testimony basically from citizens if they want to come up. And they might just be with a local housing group or this, that, and other, or a local issue, or, a comprehensive issue that want to have some testimony. We start with that. Then we go to the department heads. Then once the House gets it over here, which I hope is sometime middle of March, something like that, maybe towards the end of March. And then we've got till the 1st of May to get it all together, first part of May to get it all together and get everything worked out, and then to the governor to let him sign what he will and veto what he doesn't like.
It's the one constitutional mandate, and that's good.
It is. And in doing so, our first item is always take care of our state debt. And I think I mentioned before that we're one of 10 states that has a AAA bond rating, which is very unusual. It allows us to borrow money cheaper and kind of shows the condition we're in as a state. That's a good part about it. And the second thing is funding the schools. But the biggest thing in the budget is Medicaid. We spend more money on Medicaid than we do on schools or anything else. And between schools and Medicaid, you're talking 80% of the budget. Some people start talking about cutting the budget. Pretty tough to cut anything after that because you got highway patrol, you got prisons, you got all these different areas. Not a lot of stuff you can really cut a whole lot out of, but it does continue to grow. And like I say, we're going to be up over $28 billion this year. Lots of money.
We talk from time to time about some of the visitors. It's a long trip.
It is, and I appreciate people because the closest probably of my district is at least 2 hours away, and some 3.5, maybe 4.5 to 5 hours away if they came up. So anytime they make the journey up here, even if I'm in committee or on the floor, we try and find time to take time to see them. And one of the really good things that I enjoy all visitors, but especially in this week we had FCCLA and FBLA, the Future Business Leaders of America. 2 great groups of kids, and try and spend extra time, and sometimes we have a job shadow out of one of them. And then FFA kids come up here in their blue and gold jackets, and they're always so polite and so nice and inquisitive and just very well mannered, and that's always very impressive. That organization is bringing out what needs to be brought out in the young kids. You can't train them that, but they help to bring it out. But any of the kids that come up here are adults that come in. I truly appreciate that. So we had retired teachers up here this week. Anytime anybody comes up here, I try and show them courtesy, and whether I agree or disagree with them, and spend time with them if I can. They make the journey, and if I'm running one of our committees, the visitors will get time to speak and consideration shown to them far more than a lobbyist or anybody like that that's local. It's good to have them come up. And especially with the weather being like it is, you never know this time of year, and had events planned. West Plains is trying to get the National Junior College volleyball tournament down there. It's been down there in the past, and the rep was coming in to review things, and they've got some new facilities or new housing areas, and so we hope that West Plains has a good shot at it, and it was canceled. And then also an event at R-Rogersville was canceled, so you never know about the weather. We'll be on the road somewhere this Friday and see if we can't get some things done.